So, I've been following a gentleman in this audience for probably a couple of years, and this gentleman's very talented, and he writes, and he does poetry, and he has a television show. He interviews lots of very interesting people, and he is shadow banned all the time because he's so out there, the media don't like him. And he needs, I think, a boost for all the great work he does. And his name's Billy Watson. I'm going to introduce him. He's going to introduce himself.
Hello! It's alright, any of you recognise me?
Yeah.
I've done a show called Shooting the Shit during COVID. Basically 30 years ago, I was trying to form a rock band. Somebody in the band, a girl handed me a David Icke tape, Turning Off the Tide. I watched that, watched the news, went, well, the news is bullshit. 2 weeks later, David Icke's in the assembly room, so I went to see that. We was doing his 2-man and a dog tour, and that was me down the rabbit hole. So it was like 30 years of me studying all this stuff. I lived in Turkey for 12 years, I never had a full-time job. Well, I was working in a chemical factory, so it was 4 days on, 4 days off. A lot of time down the rabbit holes, waiting for when something like COVID happened. So when that happened, and people were kind of lost, I started this Shooting the Shit show to give people a place to kind of come together. And then I started interviewing people. Don Lester and David Parker were one of the first people I interviewed with regard to telling people there was no virus. And I started doing talks at protest meetings and stuff like that, and getting lots of resistance from people like yourselves who, you know, were getting indoctrinated with the bullshit about catching a cold, and it's quite hard to get that one across. And then I went through, I've interviewed Andrew Kaufman, Pete here a couple of times, and various other people, Conspiracy Music Guru. But then Vimeo decided to remove 10,500 videos, and YouTube shadow banned me. Facebook, I got hacked and then got in contact with them personally, but they still won't give me my shit back. And I lost my job through fighting COVID because when I started injecting people, children, I says, I'm not playing this one anymore. So they sacked me, it took me a year, and I got $4,000 out of them, but I had to pay back to people who'd helped me to take them to court in the first place. So I lost that, I've done 10 agency jobs, and I'm working as a postman. I've got arthritis or something kicking in, my body's in agony. I'm trying to spend time. I've got 4 books all about conspiracy theories, poetry. I'm turning them all into song right now. I've got hundreds of shit I like to spend my time working on to try and help people, but I've got to do a full-time job and all the rest of it. And I find it very difficult to get any traction because I'm shadow banned everywhere. So I've recently, a few days ago, started a new social website to try and form my own social community. And there's a link on my website just now. BillyWatson.tv is my main website, and I've even been trying to do stand-up comedy and stuff and been banned from the actual other comedians banning me when you actually try and do jokes. You know, kind of comedy is supposed to be a little bit offensive, and you're not allowed to do it anymore. Comedy is fucking shit, by the way. Comedians are an absolute fucking disgrace these days. No balls whatsoever. None of them got anything to say about fucking anything, and if you try and challenge them, you get kicked out in your arse and ostracised to fuck. So my idea is to build up a social channel where then I can go and do gigs for people that know me, and then you can say proper jokes, you know.
Conspiracy comedy.
I done a joke about the N-word, and this Aberdeen comedian says, you can't go to Aberdeen and say the N-word, you'll never get back, you know. And basically, I did actually, I don't know, can I say the N-word here? Is that right? Nicola? That was a joke I was trying to do, but before I got to that punchline, a fucking comedian told me to get the fuck off stage, and then I told him I was an idiot, and then the compere says, oh, he's speaking for everyone. So I've got all this documented, me going down the normie comedy clubs, because I'm doing gigs with Kay Hopkins and Uncensored, and they're going well, and I'm fucking having a laugh with people like yourselves that have got a fucking brain. Then you go to normie world, and I had a room full of NHS nurses, and they didn't like what I said. Because I said, you know, Nicola Sturgeon, when I done that joke there about Nicola, I tried to do it and a few rumblings. I said, oh, Nicola, she said that Scotland's mammy, she said she was Scotland's mammy, didn't she? And then she tried to kill everyone. The nurses didn't like that one. Because they were doing the fucking killing, right? Anywho, I've got hundreds of shit. BillyWatson.tv, there's a wee link in the top right hand corner that says social. And I have to change it from the subdomain to the domain. I'll do that when I go home tonight. So when you click social, there's a community there. You're welcome to join that for free. I'm going to put lots of samples of my stuff in there. I'm asking for a £5 a month to join my main site to get all my content, all the interviews, because really I want to get on my job so I can do this more. Because it takes a lot of time and effort. I've interviewed over 120 people, and you've got to prepare for all those interviews, and you've got to prepare shooting the shit shows and do comedy and live a life and do a job, and it's no easy when you're pounding the streets 40 hours a week, Anywho, that's been me. She asked me to introduce myself. I've done it to some extent, and I'll let you go with the rest of the day. BillyWatson.tv, cheers.
Thank you, please support Billy, he's doing great things. Thank you, Billy Watson TV. David.
Billy, you've got your first subscriber. Right, what's going on here? The other word you could try is the F word, Billy, which is, of course, freedom. Right now, before I forget, I've got loads of these personal protection cards, so they're not going back to England, they're staying in Scotland. So, take them, alright? Or,
Take some.
yeah, okay. Alright, so take the ball. If anyone wants a few off you, then
Kevin.
and I've got a few school protection cards. Now, what I wanted to do is, hang on a second.
Stand in the middle, David.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
Stand in my spot.
There you go, standing sovereign peace spot. Is I want to flesh out something that I came across it about 10 years ago, and a few of us did, but none of us understood it. And I was one of those. I just didn't get it. I wasn't ready for it. And it's based on kind of what Pete's covered, the first, second, third title, but they're called the first, second, and third estates, and it's all about knowing how to be the living sovereign beneficiary. That's the full title. So you're not just sovereign, you're living and you're the beneficiary. But you're only the beneficiary under the trust. And Pete has told you what trust there are. But I want to just talk you briefly through it. This is a teaser introduction, but I'll give you 3 applications for it, which again you can take away and think about. And I go into more detail. I've only just put it into my course material. I've got someone here that's tried it. You tried this, didn't you?
I did,
Yeah, and he was doing very well with it, but then the judge tripped him up. So to know how to avoid the pitfalls, you've got to study it a bit further, but I'll give you the teaser intro. So, 3 estates. The first estate is created by the Almighty, the primal creator, and operates through your mother and father, and your mother and father hold the infant baby in trust, and the infant baby is the beneficiary. The beneficiary never changes. We're still the beneficiary, but we're no longer in that first trust. Okay, so that's trust number 1. The divine trust created when you're born. Okay, divine source, trustees are mother and father. So divine source is the creator or grantor. Mother and father are the trustees. Baby is the infant beneficiary. Okay so far? Yeah? The second trust fails very quickly because now mother and father, in their ignorance, send off an application form for a birth certificate. And that application form, all they do is sign it. They don't give any terms and conditions. They're creating it, but they don't do anything with the trust. So it fails. It fails for lack of certainty. If you know anything about trust law, you'll know that one of the 3 elements of a trust is certainty. Okay, one of the main elements is certainty. And you've got to have certainty of intention. Yes, there's got to be certainty of objects, that's the people running the trust, and certainty of subject matter. And objects are the people in the trust. And you've got to have certainty of subject matter, which in this case is the baby. But that trust fails because mum and dad don't know what they're doing, and they don't write out any terms and conditions. So we go straight into the third trust. When the government sends the birth certificate, your mum and dad are now become parents, the infant baby becomes the child, and now we have trust number 3, which Pete did hint at. Okay, so the baby becomes a child, mother and father become parents, and in that trust, the government operate the terms of trust via their rules, policies, regulations, yes? And now mum and dad are the chief trustees. When you become of age, you take over that role as trustee administrator, but you don't know you're administering a trust. You've no idea. You're just living your life. Now, if you've ever wondered why you can be fined for doing no harm, it's connected to this 3 estate doctrine. And I shall hopefully join the dots here. Right. So the government in estate number 3, which is what we're all in estate number 3, which is created by the government and being administered unlawfully by ourselves, by us, because we don't know that we're an administrator and we haven't had permission to administrate, because to administer an estate you either have to be an executor under a will or an administrator under letters of administration. So what you're doing is usurping the government's place unlawfully. You're not declaring anything, you're just doing it. So when you go to court, whether you plead guilty or not guilty, you're guilty of unlawful administration in administrative court. See how clever this is? It's not civil and it's not criminal. It's trust law. Under trust law, you haven't got permission to administer your own estate. Therefore, you are, it's technically called executor de son tort. Tort is the French for wrong. You are in wrongdoing. Therefore, whether you've speeded or sped or prayed silently outside an abortion clinic, it doesn't matter. The minute you answer to the legal name, you're in wrongdoing. So there's the wrongdoing. All right? Now, that means that whatever you do, you'll be in the wrong. And now we're hopefully beginning to understand how they trap us all the time. And I'll give you the escape route in a minute. The other thing you need to know is that estates are created for the benefit, well, estates are created for the benefit of someone, in this case the beneficiaries, which is all of us. We're all the beneficiaries of our own estates. But we don't know that we have an estate, which is why people like Peter are spreading great information. He's putting us on notice that we do have an estate, a title or a trust in our name. It's the public trust. Now, the government create regulations to protect those estates. And so when they tell you to wear a mask, the government, which is the lawful administrator of your estate, you're the unlawful one. The government is the lawful one, because they're the ones that created the third estate. They are creating these regulations, rules and policies for the benefit of that estate. And it's a perceived benefit. So if they tell you to take a jab and wear a mask, for you it's an act of insanity. But for the government, because we're living in a delusional matrix, for the government, they see it, they perceive it as a benefit to your estate, because they don't know the truth. So they're operating a lie. So when you don't adhere to those rules, you are going against the terms and conditions of the trust. And you are now committing a potential detriment to your own estate or to somebody else's. Right, I'm going to stop there just to go have a check on comprehension. How are you doing so far? Right, so there's a perceived benefit to the estate because estates only exist so that someone can benefit. There has to be a beneficiary. The government is in control of this third estate, so it decides what is of benefit to that estate. It has decided that compliance generally, and specifically compliance with COVID bollocks, is a perceived benefit to the estate. Therefore, if you do not comply, you are acting not only unlawfully when you admit that you're the person, but you're acting in detriment to your own estate. When you drive too fast, you're acting in potential detriment to your own estate, because you could conceivably cause harm. Whether or not you do is immaterial, because the perceived benefit is keeping people's speeds down to lower fatalities on the roads. That's the perceived benefit. How are we doing? We're doing all right? Okay. I'm getting confused, but you're doing all right. Right, so now, when you're offered a fine for speeding, or anything similar, fine for not taking the kids to Disneyland or whatever, when you're offered a fine, they're fining, they want you as the unlawful administrator to pay, in effect, into the estate, because they're running the estate, for your unlawful administration and for your potential detriment to the estate. Because their idea of a perceived benefit is that education is good for kids, and the more that they're in school, the more educated they will be. You have to bear in mind, you've got to do some mental gymnastics here, that everything that they perceive to be true is utterly false and actually a crime against humanity. But that's another day's work, right? So, what you do is, you can do it in writing or you can do it in court, is you say, I am here, I'm answering to the name, that's the name of the administrator, but I wish, because you have to step into your sovereignty, which is through the phrase, wish, will, or pleasure. I wish, or my wish, my will, my pleasure, is to announce or to notify you that as well as being the administrator, I'm also the executor and living beneficiary of my estate. Living sovereign beneficiary of my estate. And as living sovereign beneficiary, I instruct you, or I wish to plead guilty, let's say it's a pseudo-criminal offence, I wish to plead guilty in my capacity as administrator, but I forgive myself. So you are issuing a royal pardon. I know it's funny and it's not funny. This is how the monarchy are trained. I wish to issue a royal pardon. You won't put it like that because you'll probably get locked up, but okay. I wish to forgive myself. I wish, not I want. And you were asked, well, what do you want, weren't you?
Well, so what happened was I went through the thing and they said, what are you saying, what are you doing? And I went through the whole thing again and I said, I wish to forgive myself and I wish to waive all benefits to my estate upon being punished or fined, and so that was fine. And then he said, this is an appeal, do you want to appeal? And instead of saying, you have your instructions, do your work, I said, how do we...
No, it's fine. It's your first ever go. You did a fantastic job. So, it's right, Mark, isn't it?
It is.
Mark got the judge to go very quiet for a substantial period of seconds, maybe even minutes, right? So he was winning. But then the judge knew that he was winning, and that the judge is basically the public trustee agent, and that is the living beneficiary, sovereign, who gives instructions, but they have to be given in a sovereign, conclusive manner. I wish to waive the so I wish to plead guilty, but I wish to waive the so it's 3 stages. Well, it's 4 really. I am the sovereign beneficiary. I wish to plead guilty in my capacity as administrator. I wish to forgive myself, that's right, plead guilty, forgive myself, and I wish to waive the benefit that would accrue to my estate if I, as administrator, were to pay a fine.
Or be punished.
Or be punished, yeah, because it might not be, in fact, could be an endorsement on the licence or whatever. So you are, let me just go through it again. You're turning up as the living sovereign beneficiary to your own estate. You are admitting that you're also the administrator, that you're pleading guilty if it's a criminal matter, but that you wish to forgive yourself, always wish, and that you wish, always wish, to waive, W-A-I-V-E, so it's not that, that's W-A-V-E. It's amazing how many people leave the I out, right? Including myself once when I wasn't proofreading properly. Waive the benefit that would accrue to the estate if I, as administrator, were to pay the fine or take the punishment or be given a punishment. Now, the judge will play tricks, which is what happened to Mark, and say, so what do you want then? No, you have your instructions, and I wish this matter to be concluded immediately. Job done. And that can be done in writing. Now I'm going to leave it there because I think you've had enough truth bombs today you all look a bit, you need like to lie, as if you need to lie down in a very darkened room, okay? And yeah.
Sorry David, just see how you're using the language, I wish.
I wish.
Does that not then imply that somebody then has to grant that wish?
Yeah,
Is it you?
The judge is the genie, and you're the one that's let the genie. Yeah, your wish is my command.
Yeah.
So you're commanding the situation. But that's why they send us to school. At school, you learn to be the one that's commanded.
Yeah.
Because we should be saying to the teacher, and someone who's using this school protection card, a 14-year-old boy is now bossing it. Did I say this earlier in school? Right, that's half a senior moment then, because I vaguely remember doing it, right? And so this boy is bossing it because he is now using this card. Some boys and girls know they don't need a card like this, but some do. Yeah. And he knows that he can apply sovereignty using these remedies. And if you've got any questions about that, you know, it's the commercial remedy. If you're giving me an order, then my parents will send you an invoice. If you're giving me no choice, then it's a Modern Slavery Act situation. And if it escalates, then it's International Convention on the Rights of the Child, which is, let me just read it out, which is, discipline in schools should respect human dignity. Article 28. So you've got them banged to rights. You've got them banged to rights. They are, and for many decades, well, since modern schooling came in as a military model, which it was, they've been using military-style approaches and punishments to keep children so-called in line. And this is where, and we're running this program. When we go to court, it's like going to the headmaster or head teacher. You know, that's who we view. No. Remember, are you old enough to remember The Prisoner? Yeah. Right? You spent the entire series asking who's number one, and they found out right at the end, spoiler alert, right? It was him all along. Patrick Lagoon was number one. Yeah, it's us. We're number one. They can't do anything without our permission or consent or collaboration. They can't do anything. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. We are the power and we are the supreme command on planet Earth. But we've been indoctrinated into thinking the opposite. It's our planet. So, speeding, I'll give you an application for potentially. So in schools you could do it. What was the other one? Yes. If you're applying for a reclaim on your direct debits under the Direct Debit Indemnity Guarantee Scheme, which I assume you've got here, you've got to have it here.
Yep.
It's a banking thing. It's a banking thing. So when you make the phone call, it's something I teach on my course, but I haven't actually put these two remedies together. So I'll be in the notes, I'm going to insert, speak like a sovereign. Speak like the sovereign or the living sovereign beneficiary. I wish you to, and I actually did it once myself 2 years ago without really realising what I'd done. Because I was ringing up for a direct debit indemnity refund, and the operative was being obstructed. And I just said, you don't seem to understand. You don't seem to know your job. So put me onto someone that does know their job and does have experience in direct debit indemnity reclaims. Anyway, because I put it in such a forceful, direct manner, his attitude changed. Oh right, so which ones are you claiming then? You know, so he'd gone from, oh, we can't really, you know, you need to prove this, you need to prove that. That's utter nonsense. You don't need to prove anything. The sovereign lays down the terms and conditions. I am the beneficiary. I'm specifically the beneficiary of the Direct Debit Indemnity Guarantee. I'm reporting error. So what's holding up this process? That's it. You don't answer any questions. Never ever answer questions. So, oh, have you alerted this to the third party, to the company? You're asking me a question. Am I obliged to answer that question? You're the agent. I'm the beneficiary. You're the trustee's agent. Do your job. And if you can't do this job, put me onto your superiors. You know, and I've had these conversations, and I always get a positive outcome. So you just have to be, I think the word is belligerent. Don't take no for an answer. So you've got to go back, to heal this, you may have to go back in your mind to the classroom. You know, when the teacher says, why are you late? Where's your homework? The correct answer is, it's none of your business. Or what business is it of yours? Because I always answer a question with a question. What business is it of yours, sir or miss? Yeah? What business is it of yours? And the other remedy I can give you, which is worth noting, is the golden question. All these remedies can interact to some extent. If somebody is coming at you, okay, let's say it's on the street, knock at the door. So you're not going to do the 3 estate remedy out on the streets. It's in writing or in court. Okay, that's the first thing to know. Right, so it's a special situation. You're bossing it's a pre-action protocol, or you're actually in court. But if it's like agent at the door, debt collector, or social worker, or police officer, or whatever, gas agent, then you want the golden question. If you're not doing total disengagement, that is. And the golden question is, you might need to make a note of this, it comes in 3 parts. What claim are you making over my property? I know, and in front of the word property, you might want to put brackets, biological brackets, property, if it involves offspring, sons and daughters. What claim are you making over my brackets, biological brackets, property? Cool. That's first leg. Second leg, upon what lawful basis are you making that claim? That's section 2 of that question. And the final section, with what living witness testimony in support are you making that claim? And when I gave that question to someone who was being besieged by social workers and family court, CAUGAT, the judge, she asked the judge, and this is a woman that came to me, she was in tatters, she didn't know what to do. She was being, she was basically having the kid stolen by this narcissistic ex. And she asked this question to the judge, no, I'm making no claims. She asked it to the solicitor on the other side, no, I'm making no claims. No one's got a claim. Her ex, as the biological father, has some claim, but she didn't ask it of him because she can come to a peaceful arrangement privately with him. But in the public, in the commercial arena, because it's all commerce, it's all pounds, shillings and pence, and child and human trafficking, it's got nothing to do with real life as we know it, then it's all about asking these white-collar workers the right question, and they run a mile. No social worker could ever possibly have a claim on your boy or girl. It's just not happening, because they haven't got any evidence. They've got nothing. They've just got a political mandate to steal children for child and human trafficking and indoctrination purposes. So you've got to, we're seeing through all these paradigms one by one. We know about the money scam, but there's the child scam, there's the healthcare scam, there's the religion scam. They're all scams, they're all made up. It's all made up. Media scam, celebrity scam, it's all made up. If you are not the most important person that you know, then you've been scammed. End of.
Dave, can you repeat number 3, please?
Oh, I thought you wanted me to repeat that last bit. So, right, all right, I'll go for that. Number 3, no, that's okay. It was with what living witness testimony in support. So we've done direct, okay, so you've got the golden question to protect yourself against agents at the door. No one's getting in. They need you to go interfere and open the door. Like Rachel, sounds like I'm picking on her, doesn't it? Right? Twice, yeah, okay. Yeah, but she's the one that put the video out there. So, I didn't ask her to do that. So just remember that you've got all kinds of remedy, but my favourite remedies are the ones that you can action in your shoes, not on your computer. Those are my favourite remedies, because you're going to need to walk around with that power when the shit really is hitting the fan. Because how do you know the power is going to be on? You might want to write the most eloquent, learned letter or notice that you've ever sent to anyone, but your computer's gone down. Or all the offices are empty, so no one's going to read it. So your real remedy is you. You're walking in it. You are it. That's what the prisoner that's the allegory of the prisoner. You are the remedy. And you have to really take that on board, which is why going to the so-called gurus is something you should do very, very cautiously, because they are not your remedy. You are your remedy. Yes, they can accelerate your journey. Don't dispute that. Pete's doing some amazing work, and we're all chipping in with our contributions. But at the end of the day, you are your remedy. And I think that's all I need to say. Question? Oh, sorry, yeah.
If many
No.
We don't need to.
No, it is a numbers game. Yes, 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 yes.
We have a solution.
Tipping point.
Are we nearly there though?
Well, they say that it only takes 3% of the population to shift, because most of the rest of the population are. Have you heard of NPCs, non-playing characters? Okay, so David Icke says that 95% of people are non-playing characters, which means they don't have their own mind. Which means that leaves 5%. I think I've just had an aha moment, right? If we're only working with 5% of people that've got their own mind, if you get to 3%, then that only leaves 2%, and you've won. Or am I missing something?
No.
Yeah.
You don't need everyone to wake up.
No, you said no. Because some people are actually not. We can debate till the cows come home how many people are actually switched off forever and will never wake up because they're not real people. Right? They're backdrop people. Dolores Cannon, backdrop people. Yeah? So, we've all had backdrop people, haven't we? Sort of. Because when you're in need, they're never there. The backdrop people, only they have needs. Yeah. Any other questions? So, this is going to sound like a shameless plug. It's not meant to be, but because it's kind of a tricky remedy, as Mark found out, right? You might want to study it further, and at the moment, it's in the private section. In other words, you have to get on my course to get in-depth training in it. I think one day there will be a public version of it, because it's only fair. There's got to be a public and a private version of everything, to be fair to everyone, because not everyone can afford to pay for course fees or whatever. And personally, I don't need everyone to do my course. I just need a certain critical mass, and they can teach everybody else.
That's what I was going to ask. So if one person did the course, then would you be okay with it then sharing that information out?
Yeah, there's also group rates. So you can, if you have a group join the course, you get it in effect at half price. So, yeah.
David, have you got any way of reaching younger people?
Oh, that's right. This is the key.
Yeah.
I think it's slowly catching monkey. They are trapped in the classroom, but the good news is we underestimate boys and girls like you would not believe.
Yeah.
This furry movement looks like a pathology, where they're pretending to be cats and dogs and domestic animals, but they're actually taking the piss. They're taking, because they can see how deranged their teachers are. Right? You can't kid kids. That's why they're so wary of so many grown-ups, because we're the deranged ones in their eyes. We're deranged because we're programmed to high heaven. They haven't been fully programmed yet, so they are much closer to sanity than we are, and therefore they can really take the piss out of their teachers. And the teachers, well, today, miss, I'm Lenny the lion. Right? So the teacher has to go and get a little cage or a bowl of water, right? And the teachers cannot be seen to discriminate against a kid that genuinely believes, in her eyes or his eyes, that it's Lenny the lion or Peter the pussycat or whatever, But the kids you do have the odd kid with a pathology, yes, who genuinely believes that they can be an animal. But most kids are just using it to wind up, they're getting their own back. They're getting their own back. They know that they're being bullied, labelled, stifled, asphyxiated. They know that. They know that they're, especially the youngsters coming through. I didn't know that when I was that age, because our consciousness wasn't that high, but the consciousness is going up for all of us at the same time. So that means if you're only 10, 12 or 16, you've got the same level of consciousness as we've got, because it's a collective move. And so they know that they're in prison. We didn't. We thought we were in school. But they know that they're in prison. That's the difference. So this is our way of saying, look, we know that you're in prison. And your mum and dad are telling us, well, it's not time to pull you out, but here's your internal prison remedy. Yeah? There's a 19-year-old who no one could tell him what to do in school. He's, what's his name? I keep forgetting his name. Very tall. I met him at Geneva when we all did the Freedom Geneva Convention, the WHO protest. It'll come to me. If you hear a name blasted out from that seat, it's not me with Tourette's. It's just I've suddenly remembered what the guy's name is, right? So we just have to. I had a conversation before we went on the panel, and you can see how can I put it? Unruliness, boisterousness, willfulness, naughtiness, rudeness. No, these used to be considered bad qualities. No, not anymore. They are good qualities because they are qualities of an individual that's kicking out. A rebel. We have to water this plant, you know. Well, obviously, if it spills over into violence, that's a different matter. But if someone is just acting up, playing up, my God, we've got to celebrate that. I taught this card game to 5,000 kids. I didn't have one problem over 15 years. Didn't have one problem with a single one of them. I had one Sikh girl say, actually, Mr. Minibridge, that was my trade name in school, I can't play this game. I just said, why not? I said, because in our culture, we don't gamble. I said, well, where's the gambling? So I said, will you watch from the sidelines and let me know how you get on? After 20 minutes, she's screaming to get in. And that was the only, and to play. So because I was offering something playful and fun, see, give them freedom. If they want more freedom, give them more freedom. And when they reach a certain age, we should be letting them out of school and onto the streets. As soon as they hit 13, 14, maybe 15, 16 in the case of a girl, but definitely 13, 14 in the case of a boy, out. Get them out of school, onto the streets. Helping grannies across the road, lifting heavy shopping for, you know, helping with people with tasks. Just doing stuff, seeing, observing. You know, I want to see kids out on the streets, and I want to see them at events like this, but it's not happening yet. And that's what we need. So that hopefully answers your question. In other words, get them out of prison and get them to stop thinking that they can go to college to better themselves. No, absolutely not. It's the opposite is true. You know, they go to college to kill their brain, the hippocampus. They'll come out even more brain damaged than when they went in. And it is brain damage. You know, one of my favourite, I've got this, I knew there was something I nearly forgot to remind you. Globalese lexicon. On my website, you've got 4 emergency info packs, 2 like this and 2 more. Okay, so you've got protection for rallies, protection for visits to the door, you've got emergency global crisis info pack, and you've got the school info pack. I'm going to add 1 or 2 more as well. But also on the same website, thepeopleslawyuk.com, and its details are on the cards. You've also got, in the resources section, Globalese lexicon. Now, if you're wondering how to wake people up, particularly a boy or girl, just walk them through the lexicon. It'll also wake you up as well. Because what I've done over a period of about a year, and it's organic, it's growing, is I've translated Globalese language, which is evil doublespeak. And we all know about legalese, don't we? Legalese doublespeak. Well, they have globalese doublespeak, which is the even more dangerous phenomenon. And globalese, so for example, academic, which sounds glorious, doesn't it? But you look in the Oxford English Dictionary, academic translates as of no practical use or value. Virus. Everyone thinks, oh, kill a virus. Well, it's doublespeak. Virus in English is not the same as virus in Latin. They're not using virus in English because virus in English is your exosome that cleans your body. But virus in Latin is the toxin that they put in the air and in the water and in the food and in the jabs. It's doublespeak. So when they talk about killer virus, they're telling the truth. But we can't decode it. It's about decoding it. They tell the truth way more often than we give them credit for. It's doublespeak truth. See how dangerous this is? So we need to re-educate ourselves. So the Globalese lexicon, it's QR coded, you can download it, you can transfer it to someone else's phone, you can do whatever you want with it. It's an organic document, it's growing every week or certainly every month. I put new phrases in, and that's the kind of thing you can get in there. Another one was or one of my latest inclusions was, misinformation, disinformation. That's what they call it, but we would call it free speech. So these are the little, you show that to a 12-year-old who is being taught at school that about disinformation, misinformation. They see on the other side of the page on this Globalese lexicon, oh, Mum, Dad, it says free speech is a definition of, yeah, and it will make them think about propaganda, government tyranny. That's how you can introduce the subject.
And are you happy for that sort of information to be printed off? And
it would be a crime. Chris will tell you it's a crime against humanity not to print it off. It's not proprietary.
Right.
It's not. Most of the things that we do are not proprietary. We have to do something to earn a living, but beyond that, everything is it's your. Not only can you print it off, it's your duty to print it off. You see what I mean? Those days are gone. Where there's no copyright symbols on most of my material. Just get it out there. So it's important to share, but study it first, read it, and find your favourite bits and discuss them with family, friends, and especially younger ones. Because I personally think that the Globalese lexicon has the potential to wake a lot of people up. Even if it just, academic. That could stop someone in their tracks. Oh, why should I study 10 years and get into severe debt to do something of no practical use or value? Eh? It's a wacky racist moment, isn't it? Any other questions? By the way, apparently we were only supposed to be here till 4, weren't we? Eh? So, have you got another hat to pass around? Oh, yeah.
In 2022, I was victim of hate speech for not wearing face masks.
Hate speech?
For not wearing a
For not wearing a face mask?
Hate speech.
Hate speech?
Well, I hate you because you're not wearing a mask.
On a flight in EasyJet.
For not wearing a mask, that's hate speech. Even that doesn't compute with me. Hate speech.
You're being bullied. Yeah, you're being bullied because you won't wear a face mask. Yeah.
Right, but they said you were guilty of hate speech.
She said she was a victim, somebody was abusing her.
Ah, sorry, right, I'm with you. Okay, thank you.
Yes, that did not.
Hate speech is bullshit.
She was a victim of verbal abuse.
Yeah, so you were a victim of hate speech when you didn't put the mask on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I claim compensation on that if this happened in 2022 because I didn't have I still don't have the knowledge of the law.
Yes, but you don't need that. All you know is that it's against your higher law and highest common sense to wear a mask. So you don't wear a mask. If that's a problem for someone who's infantile, got Stockholm syndrome, acute chronic narcissism, virtue signalling, and brain death, and if they decide to spout some words against you, well, they. Ooh.
Yeah, but it was instigated by a person who works for EasyJet. Can I get compensation from EasyJet?
Well, that sounds like Equality Act discrimination. Yeah? Yeah, but the thing is, what my attitude to these events is, look, we're at war. This is the war to end all wars. We're going to take hits. And I strongly discourage people to delve back into the past to search for hurts and to try and get compensation for hurts. The reason I say that is not saying you're wrong. You're absolutely right. But the point is, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? That's the point. And I would personally rather be happy. Therefore, I let things slide and I move forward. If you move forward looking backwards, you're going to crash. Yeah? You're just going to crash. You're not going to change the world by pointing out to someone that they were in breach of the Equality Act. It's not going to change the world. What will change the world is that you take these hits and you keep moving forward. They don't affect you. They don't affect you. You don't wear a mask. You don't take a jab. You don't comply. You don't stand back when the guy says, "Stand back, please." You don't stand back. You put up a collective, no. The red line, we're the ones, well, that phrase, "we're the ones we've been waiting for," means we are the ones that are going to draw the red line in the sand. And those boys and girls coming through will then have somewhere to stand, somewhere safe. If we don't draw the line in the sand, then it will be a forever onslaught, and we can only lose that one. But if we draw the line in the sand, we can only win. Yeah? Make sense?
I found a pen that it belonged to somebody, lost the pen, so here, there we are. A couple of quick things. Don't forget, if you'd like to take a photograph of the links on the board. The second thing is, please could you pay for your sandwiches if you haven't.
Yeah, if you have sandwiches, if you could go to the bar and pay for your sandwiches because somebody has paid, or I think the gentleman at the back. Yeah, so if you haven't paid, and if you haven't paid for your ticket, I think most people have, but if you haven't, do come and see me, please, and cough up, basically.
And we're, sorry.
Where did you find the report and obviously where
That will be on Karen's Wise Women Weekdays.
I'll put it there. I put the websites up there. Yeah, on my YouTube channel, Wise Women Weekdays, and then all the guests, sorry, the speakers, their websites are there. So just take a screenshot of that, and I'm uploading now as we speak. As I said, they're very raw and crude, but it's the information you want, not the glamour, I'm afraid.
And I think Richard and Karen are going to recommence the weeklies again soon.
Yes, we are. Back in October, we're going to go online on the church to have a Lawful Remedies. So, yeah, on a Thursday or a Friday. So that's going to be happening.
And we've got an event coming up in Canterbury. It's a 2-day event in a lovely theatre right in the middle of the countryside. And the flyer is going out. And there'll be hopefully an attachment which will lead you to Karen's website. We're just trying to sort that bit out now for all the details. Because it's a 2-day event, you can order food, all the transport details are there. And if you like, once you see that, go to Karen's website, and share it widely, because it's a 300-seated theatre and we really want to give it a big push. So David is going to be there, Pete, we might be there too, we'll see. Chris is going to be there. We haven't asked Peter Wilson yet. Tony's going to be there, allegedly Dave's going to be there, and a couple of others. So it'll be really good.
We come up, your turn to come down.
Yeah. I'll hand you over to Peter here. Poor Peter, you've been awfully quiet. Your turn.
It's Pete's turn to speak. Yeah. Talk about Unum Sanctum. I like it when you do that. That's when I start learning stuff about Unum Sanctum.
Alright, my website over there. If you haven't got it, right, go to claimyourstrawman.com. Has anyone ever heard of John Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason why the website's named that, not for any other reason. So he's obviously a hero of mine. Followed him for a very long time. Obviously, rest in peace. But just from what David was saying there about the court as well, and the lunchtime I was talking to a friend of mine, Dane. He's just got a book out, something about family